Transportation projects. Updates on some regional transportation projects going on. I45 Gulf Freeway through Galveston County is going to be accelerated. Recently, Proposition 1 passed, you may have heard, brought a lot of additional money into the state highway coffers. 9 months ago, they were talking about the I45 Freeway. It's currently, the project is under construction, but it stops at the county line. The talk was about doing the first segment in Galveston County in 2025 or somewhere around there. Now, suddenly, less than 9 months later, they're planning to go forward immediately, and the first segment from League City through Dickinson is going to be under construction by the end of next calendar year. They're planning to go to letting this summer. It's moving fast because they have the money and they're pressing it forward. Similarly, Highway 146 on the east side of the county running north and south is scheduled to go under construction probably within about a year and a half. Originally, the county was supposed to post $10 million in matching funds as part of that project. It's standard TxDOT requirement, which is a lot of money. That was your tax dollars. I talked to TxDOT literally a week ago, less than a week ago. TxDOT has decided that they're going to treat this as an emergency evacuation route and waive the matching requirement, thereby saving all of us $10 million. So if anybody knows anybody from TxDOT, give them a hug this week. Good news for the county budget perspective. Pelican Island Bridge. The county is also working toward building a new bridge to Pelican Island. For both road and rail. We recently reached agreement with Galveston Island over the issue. We'll now be working on an agreement with the Port of Houston for the other side because the bridge will land on Port of Houston property on Pelican Island. This stands to jumpstart development over there, which will probably be the single largest, single most impactful capital project that the county will do over the next couple of decades. Progress continues on that. Highway 87. So it looks like TxDOT will likely be doing a Highway 87 project within the reasonable future. Here's what has happened. Tropical Storm Bill came and threw attention over the issue. Politics is the art of timing. And Tropical Storm Bill was the best political timing I have seen on an issue in a long time. The county has an annual meeting scheduled with TxDOT every year, where we talk about pending projects and what the county's needs were. That meeting was scheduled months in advance. Tropical Storm Bill hit the day before the TxDOT meeting. And so the only thing the Tropical Storm Bill did, after all the hand-wringing by the media, was close Highway 87. It was about the only thing that it did. And so we had Channel 11 in the Emergency Management Center at the county, and I was doing a live show for about 5, 6, 7 minutes on Houston TV, and I had Grant email pictures of 87 to Channel 11. We had the big TV, and we were scrolling through it and talking about what a life-threatening issue it was on Houston television. And the next day, Channel 11 and another news station came to our meeting with TxDOT. And that's normally a quiet, private meeting. And suddenly there are the TV cameras and the mics are out on the table, and TxDOT's looking around wondering what in the world just happened, which was great. And so TxDOT is seriously concerned about the issue now. For the first time, probably at this level, in at least a couple of decades. I've been in 3 meetings with TxDOT, and I don't just mean one person, I mean a room full of TxDOT people since that happened. And TxDOT said, look, we agree we need to do something. So first they said, let's gather the information that we have about Highway 87 to figure out what we have. And so they went out and they got the information from Dennard Engineering, which had done some work from the county after Hurricane Ike. They got some information that they had internally, and they put the information together. And they said, what do we have? What is the value of the hard data that we have? And the answer was, not very much. There just really wasn't any hard data in terms of what the elevations are on Highway 87 and what the fix needs to be. Here's what I mean. The goal of Highway 87 corrections is to increase the amount of evacuation time people have to get off of Bolivar Peninsula. In the event of a major storm, 87 is going to go underwater at some point. So the issue is, right now, the county has to issue an evacuation order when a storm coming into the Gulf basically hits Cuba, which is a long time in advance. The problem with that is twofold. Number one, if you keep giving evacuation notices for storms that are never coming here, people will get tired of it. It'll be like the boy who cried wolf, and people will quit listening. Number two, if you have a storm that develops quickly in the Gulf before there's a chance to have an evacuation notice, people could get trapped. That's a problem. And so the issue is, what do we need to do on Highway 87 to maximize the amount of time that people have to evacuate? Beyond the main problem on 87 is the corridor from Rollover Pass east. That's the part that goes under. But there are some sections west that also go underwater. It's not going to do us any good to bring the side east up 2 feet, only to find out that we now have patches to the west that are underwater for a foot. So the question that TxDOT's engineers asked, which was a good question, what elevation do we need to put Highway 87 to in order to get the evacuation timetable that we need? And the answer was, we don't know. Nobody knows. And so we all realized what we need is we need to know the answer to that question. And so TxDOT is hiring LJA Engineering, which has a hydrology department, experts. And they are going to, over the next few months, do a study that is going to say, if you have a storm of this size, the surge will be this. Let's compare it to Highway 87 and do an analysis. If we elevate Highway 87 this much, that means we have this much time to evacuate. If we elevate it this much, we have that much time to evacuate. So that we have a decision-making grid, a matrix. Once that work is complete over the next few months, that will then become the basis for a decision-making process around the design. The design intended to maximize the amount of time that people have to evacuate down Highway 87. How long is that going to take? I'm not sure, but we're talking months, not years. We are going to continue to accelerate and press TxDOT to make the design decisions as quickly as possible because there is money available for highway projects. And with Proposition 7 on the ballot in November, the amount of money for highway projects will likely increase. And so we have this 2 to 3 year window where there is money to do projects like Highway 87. We need to get this project designed and shovel ready to a point that it can get funded and built. The good news is they're spending money to generate the data that they know to do the design, which in my mind, I can't promise you what the state's going to do, but when the state starts spending money on an issue, it does indicate a level of commitment that makes me feel better than where we've been with them.